Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Missy, for that wonderful introduction. So everyone always asks me, what is a forager? So the short answer is no, I'm not out in the woods hunting for mushrooms. Although I was at the Oregon Truffle Festival a couple weekends ago, and I was in the woods with some very talented truffle dogs who actually did find some wild Oregon truffles. So that was really fun. But normally, I tell people that I'm a combination matchmaker and fairy godmother. So I'm out in the community, networking with all kinds of people to find people who are out there doing interesting and fun things with food to see if they're a match to be in Whole Foods Market. So for those of you who were here this morning, one of the things that Missy said this morning when she opened the conference today was that food is the most personal thing that you ever buy, because it's the one thing that you buy that you actually fuel your body with. And good food is the foundation of health. And I've said that for years, and it's something that I truly, truly believe. So at Whole Foods Market, we've been in business now since 1980. And I know that there are many of you in the audience who were not even a twinkle in someone's eye back in 1980. But for those of us who were around then, food was very different back in 1980. And one of the things that I tell people all the time, because people ask me, Denise, why do you work 6 or 7 days a week? Why do you work so many hours? And I kind of am joking when I tell people this, but kind of not. Because I tell people, I'm on a mission from God. And in a way, that's literally true, because I really think that food is one of the most important things in our society and in the world. I mean, food, when you think about it, is the thing that connects people. You think about any celebration that you have, and what's the one thing that is always at a celebration? Food. What's the one thing that carries cultural mores and traditions forward and has done so for thousands and thousands of years? Food. Without farmers, without farmland, without people who are out there every day working really hard, with plenty of blood, sweat, and tears, I can tell you, we wouldn't have products that all of us are so used to being able to go out and buy and nourish our families and ourselves with. Without companies like Whole Foods Market, the food scene would be very different today than it is, because we have been working since 1980 to preserve and nurture and carry forward food traditions that in many ways could have been lost through the commercialization and the industrialization of food production. So, one of the things that our first two speakers have mentioned is about, connecting with local producers and being able to go into a store and find high quality foods that aren't filled with a lot of artificial ingredients and preservatives and that kinds of thing. Well, that's something that Whole Foods Market has been committed to and working hard to spread for 35 years now. And so I'm really proud to be part of a company that has been doing that, because that's something that I've believed in from the beginning of my life. I was fortunate enough to grow up on a farm, so I've had the opportunity to work and know plenty of farmers in my lifetime. And it's kind of funny when you're growing up, growing up in a small town in Ohio and growing up on a farm, man, I just knew that I was leaving that small town and that farm far behind, and I was going to college, and the world was going to be in front of me, and I was going to somehow do something to change the world. So originally, I got my degree in political science, and I was, doing, the whole Common Cause thing in Washington, D.C. But, my house was always the house that everybody would come to for dinner because I love to cook and I love to share food with people. And, so eventually I found my way to Whole Foods Market. And so that life that I thought I was leaving behind, somehow your life comes full circle. And the next thing I know, I'm working at Whole Foods. And about 6 years ago, I was asked to become the local forager for the Pacific Northwest region. And so I have the opportunity now to connect with the very people that I knew as a child, those farmers and those ranchers and those small food producers. And I have the opportunity to help share their stories and support their products and help nurture them along their way to get their products into our stores. So for those of you who experienced lunch today, you got to meet some of the small producers that Whole Foods Market has in our stores. So people that I've had the opportunity to find at, a local farmer's market and bring into Whole Foods Market. So, when you're talking about changing the food distribution system and changing how people have access to local food, the great thing about a company like Whole Foods is I know many of you guys think of Whole Foods Market as a very large company. And, in some ways we are, but we're not really. When you look at the overall size of the food market and you look at, say, a company like Costco that Erica mentioned, during her talk, or you look at a company like, Kroger, which owns Fred Meyer, or, those kinds of companies, they are really, really large. Whole Foods Market right now, when I started with the company almost 20 years ago, we had 50 stores. Today, we have just over about 400 stores. In the Pacific Northwest here, we've got 15 stores between Oregon and Washington, and then we've got 4 stores in British Columbia. So right now, in our region, we've only got 19 stores. But the power of those 19 stores to support producers in our region, and then Whole Foods Market as a company supporting local producers across the company is huge. Many of the large brands that you guys are familiar with that are in many, many stores now, companies like Stonyfield Yogurt or Mere Glen Tomatoes or Annie's, Amy's, all of those companies, believe it or not, back in the day, started as small local companies with their neighborhood Whole Foods Market store. And one of the things that we've been committed to as a company is not just having people who shop at Whole Foods Market enjoy the kinds of foods that we sell, the foods that are without artificial ingredients, preservatives, colorings, and that kind of thing, certified organic. But we want those foods to be available to a broader marketplace. So we're really proud of the fact that these companies have been able to spread their wings outside of Whole Foods and are available in a number of other retailers. So that way, more and more people can enjoy these products. But as a local forager, I have the honor and the responsibility of finding the next generation of potential supermarket legends to bring into our stores, and also work with local farmers and ranchers to help get their products into the marketplace too. Because if you're going to change the local food economy, the first thing that you have to do is to be able to provide a marketplace for the products that people are producing. Because, I mean, you can imagine if any of you have businesses out there, I mean, it's wonderful to make a product and have a great product to offer, but if you don't have a way of getting that product out into the marketplace or people who are buying the product, you're not going to stay in business very long. So in terms of distribution, you know, one of the challenges when you are a small business is people don't necessarily think about how that whole system works. And so with us, with Whole Foods Market, you know, it's not one size fits all. So we are have the ability to work with companies. So if you're interested in starting with just one of our stores, say here in Portland, and you want to deliver direct to the store, you have the opportunity to do that. As you start getting larger and you find yourself going from store to store to store, you know, there are distributors out in the marketplace that we connect people with to try to help them solve that piece of the distribution channel. As you can imagine, there are many options out there for people, and so as a company, you have to do your homework to find the distributor that is going to be the best fit for you. And of course, there is a cost associated with having your product go through distribution, so you're going to want to you know, add that into your cost of doing business. Working with Whole Foods directly, we also have the ability to have products cross-stocked through our distribution center. So, you know, again, we work with people to try to find the solution that's going to be best for them. But, you know, the overall commitment that we have to supporting and bringing local products from the Pacific Northwest region into our stores is something that has been steadfast with us since we opened our first store here in the Pacific Northwest back in 1999. And it's something that we continue to do on a daily basis. And we're really proud of the fact that we probably have the widest range and the greatest number of products that are sourced from our local region in our stores of any retailer. But again, the important thing in terms of, you know, growing a business and really supporting a food economy in our region, or even here in Portland or the state of Oregon, is it's not about numbers. You know, I always joke around, it's not about notches on a bedpost. It's about the depth of the relationship. Because just putting a product on the shelf, if there's no real commitment to selling it, isn't going to be a win for the producer, and it's not going to be a win for us. So one of the things that has been a core value of Whole Foods Market from the beginning is supporting win-win partnerships with the producers that we work with. Because we want you to be successful and we want the product to be successful in our stores. And so that means that we really have to have a relationship where we support each other. And so getting on the shelf isn't the beginning of, or isn't the end of your journey, really. In many ways, it's just the beginning. And we're really proud to work and support the great people who are making these fantastic products and share them with our customers. So thank you so much for being here today.